We're going to see an attack that will be very professional, very effective, and its purpose will be to isolate Crimea and set the conditions for the eventual liberation of Crimea later this year. By the end of August, Ukraine will have been able to liberate Crimea if we provide them the long-range precision weapons that they need to do that. Yes, absolutely, they can do that.
Crucial developments are taking place in the ongoing Ukraine war, highlighting the groundbreaking events that have been taking place. The Ukrainian army has launched sudden long-range attacks, adding a new dimension to the war. As a result, the Russian front lines are collapsing, and several Russian command posts, arsenals, and airfields have been targeted by explosions in areas like Mariupol, Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk. The United Kingdom's delivery of Storm Shadow short-range ballistic cruise missiles to the Ukrainian armed forces has significantly changed the dynamics of the war in favor of Ukraine. The inclusion of Mariupol in the Ukrainian armed forces' great offensive plan on the Donetsk front lines has drawn attention to this region. Attacks in Mariupol have been increasing and tensions are rising in the city. A remarkable offensive operation involving long-range cruise missiles took place in Mariupol, aiming to liberate the region. The attack resulted in powerful explosions heard in the suburbs and near the airport of Mariupol. Local residents shared videos showing the intense explosions, causing the city to tremble. Fireballs rose into the sky, and the flames were so immense that they could be seen throughout the city, despite the darkness of the night. The explosions shook the Mariupol region, and initial reports indicated that the Mariupol airport, which housed Russian troops, had been targeted. The available information suggests that the missiles were launched from positions held by the Ukrainian armed forces and flew to the Old City airport area in Mariupol. The salvo of missiles, launched from a distance of 250 kilometers, struck the airport, which serves as a main headquarters for the Russian army. This attack caused great anxiety among Russian generals. Videos shared by the Mariupol City Council revealed the intensity of the explosions, leading to the belief that the Russian forces likely suffered significant casualties as a result. Petro Andriushchenko, an advisor to the mayor of Mariupol, confirmed these attacks and shared a video showing an explosion near a residential complex built by Russian forces. The video garnered attention as it depicted massive black smoke clouds and the explosion occurring behind residential buildings. According to Andriushchenko, the Russian air defense systems were unable to repel the attacks. Prior to the explosions, he reported that Russia had relocated helicopters from Berdyansk to Mariupol, possibly indicating that Russian aircraft had been moved to the airport area, which became the target of the attack. There are also speculations that old barracks may become future targets, although no specific details have been provided by the regional leadership. While the script does not specify the exact weaponry used in the attack, unofficial evidence suggests that Storm Shadow cruise missiles could have been employed. This assumption is based on the fact that Mariupol is beyond the range of the HIMARS and M270 rocket launch systems that Ukraine received from the West, which have a range of 70 kilometers. The United Kingdom has confirmed supplying Ukraine with Storm Shadow air-launched cruise missiles, which have an operational range of over 250 kilometers. These missiles have played a significant role in recent developments. Explosions in Mariupol have disrupted the perception of Russian control in the city, leading to a shift in the dynamics of the war. One of the notable features of the Storm Shadow missile is its range, allowing it to engage targets deep within enemy territory. This extended range enables the missile to strike critical infrastructure, military installations, and high-value targets without putting the launching aircraft at undue risk. Storm Shadow missile's stealth characteristics contribute to its effectiveness. It incorporates advanced shaping and materials to reduce its radar signature, making it difficult for enemy air defenses to detect and intercept. This stealth capability enhances the missile's survivability and increases its chances of successfully reaching its intended target. In recent weeks, Ukraine has showcased its strengthened air defense systems, including Patriot missiles, effectively countering Russian airstrikes. Ukraine's successful interception of missiles, including nuclear-capable ones, has boosted their confidence in missile defense capabilities. These events demonstrate that Ukraine has gained control over most of the front lines, including Crimea. Meanwhile, Russia's missile attack on Crimea suggests flaws in Moscow's invasion plan. The ongoing war has prompted residents of Crimea to flee the peninsula for their safety, undermining Putin's claim that Russians are the majority in the region. The situation in Crimea has reached a stalemate, with the Kremlin facing challenges as inhabitants abandon their homes and leave the peninsula due to Russia's continued aggression. While Putin may argue for Russian dominance, the world holds Russian occupation policies responsible for the situation in Crimea and other Ukrainian territories. Life in Mariupol has been severely impacted by the conflict. Russian bombardments last year caused extensive damage, with over 90% of the city being destroyed or damaged. As a result, essential services such as electricity, heating, fresh water, food, and medical supplies have been cut off, creating a dire humanitarian situation. Local officials estimate that the death toll among civilians exceeds 20,000, causing immense harm to the city and its population. Before the war, Mariupol had a population of around 430,000 people. However, due to the ongoing conflict, about 330,000 civilians have fled the city, seeking refuge at the Mariupol harbor and train stations. The remaining population of the city now consists primarily of around 50,000 Russian soldiers, highlighting the city's critical situation. The socio-economic and psychological impact on the city is profound. The recent Ukrainian offensive included a massive attack on the port of Mariupol by missile and artillery units. The heavy artillery fire and explosions created a violent soundscape that reverberated throughout the city, further intensifying the hardships faced by the local population. The significance of Mariupol to Russia becomes apparent when considering its strategic objectives. Russia aims to establish a land corridor between Crimea and the eastern regions of the Ukraine, while also impeding the Ukrainian economy by blocking exports through the besieged port. Despite the extensive damage inflicted on the city at the beginning of the war, Mariupol remains important to Russia. It stands as the largest city captured in 2022 and currently under Russian control. Moreover, its strategic location as a major port on the Sea of Azov, connected to the Black Sea, grants it vital logistical significance for Russian operations in the region. During normal times, Mariupol served as Ukraine's major hub for exporting steel, coal, and corn to the customers in the Middle East and beyond. However, Russia's objective is to put Ukraine in an economic bottleneck by targeting Mariupol. Additionally, Mariupol was home to the Ukrainian military unit known as the Azov Brigade. If Russia could capture a significant number of Azov Brigade fighters alive, they would likely use the state-controlled media to discredit Ukraine and its government. Despite Russia's efforts, the Azov Regiment continues to actively resist and fight for Ukraine's liberation along the southern lines of Bakhmut. As a result, Mariupol has put up fierce resistance, but the city has paid a heavy price. It has been largely destroyed and left in ruins due to Russian bombings and bombardments. The Russian armed forces, led by Vladimir Putin, nearly wiped out the city with their invasion operation. However, the Ukrainian people persist in their resistance. The recent attacks by Ukrainian forces in Mariupol have become a symbol of the city's liberation, fostering optimism among many Ukrainians for the future. Recognizing the justified cause of Ukraine's freedom, the majority of EU member states, along with the United States, have begun working on the reconstruction of Ukraine. The EU plans to utilize frozen Russian assets